Are you saying that Top was in the shade of GD?
Maybe.
I'm serious.
Fucking shuddering.
Welcome to YouTube's favorite K-pop show, DK News. Danny is there, and David. Danny got COVID, so we have special reporter Danny today. So straight on into the news. First off, we have ex-Korean officer joining the fight in Ukraine, causing controversy in Korea. And second, we have Big Bang's t.o.p saying no to the K-pop system. Last but not least, we have Yoon Seok Yeol becoming the next president of Korea for 5 years, and Korea seems to be very divided about it. But starting with some happy news, yesterday BTS finally opened their first in-person concert in Olympic Stadium, Seoul, Korea. 15,000 army and audience attended due to COVID restrictions, and clappers were given to substitute chanting, singing, and screaming. Many fans showed disappointment of the COVID measures, but BTS brightened up the mood by saying that it was a unique experience to them as well, performing just in front of silent clapping. They even left the iconic phrase 박수 질러, which means scream with your claps. I'm so happy that K-ARMY finally got to see them in 2.5 years. Also, performances like On and Black Swan were dope. The concerts are going on till Saturday and Sunday, so I might be going as well. And speaking of BTS, be sure to check out our Barzar bucket hat available on our website, nakedsoul.kr. This hat has been worn by many K-pop artists, including BTS's Jungkook, ENHYPEN's Nicki, Jongwon, and CLC's Yeon. We have fast, cheap, and reliable shipping worldwide. The first 5 people to use the coupon code below will get 10% off of their purchase. Check them out at nakedsoul.kr, and on to the first news. Okay, so ex-Korean officer joins the fight in Ukraine, causing controversy. Ex-Navy SEAL turned popular YouTuber Ken Rhee announced on March 7th that he had arrived in Ukraine to fight in the front lines despite the travel ban to the country imposed by Korea's foreign ministry. Lee stated, "We thought about leaving the country, Korea, through official procedures, but we felt strong opposition from the Korean government, and there was some friction." He noted that he was threatened with legal punishment from the Korean government. And then he went on saying, "But punishment cannot stand still in this situation without helping Ukraine with the skills, knowledge, and expertise we have. If I return alive, then I will take responsibility for everything and receive the punishment I'm given." Rhee had been a prominent security consultant around the globe and had combat experience in Iraq and Somalia. In response, the Korean government doubled down on the travel ban, issuing a reminder that those who disobeyed the travel ban could face a fine up to 10 million won, which is 8,100 USD, or up to a year in prison. Rhee fired back, "My team has arrived safely in Ukraine. Rather than waste time seeking to invalidate our passports, think about how you can support. During the Korean War, the Ukrainian Americans helped Korea. Now we will help Ukraine. We cannot just stand by and watch innocent people get hurt and die." Ukrainian President Zelensky had previously called for people around the world to join Ukraine's fight against Russia and formed a special subdivision for foreign volunteer fighters named International Legion for the Territorial Defense of Ukraine. The Ukrainian government stated that more than 20,000 men have joined the forces, including 100 from Korea. The Ukrainian government also announced recently that they will hand out Ukrainian citizenships to the foreign volunteers. Meanwhile, the public response has been mixed at best, with many K-nets criticizing the ex-Navy SEAL for disobeying the travel ban. Commenters posted on Rhee's Instagram,
"This could spread to a big foreign relations issue, and the government was trying to protect our people from such things happening. If you get caught as a prisoner of war, there will be serious diplomatic issues. I get what you're trying to do, but please come back." Another said, "While I hope you return home safe, I really wish you don't cause any issues with Korea's foreign relations. Actually, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union in the Korean War. They were fighting against us," another said.
And on a side note, Rhee rose to fame by appearing in a popular YouTube series, Fake Men, in 2020 and amassed nearly 800k subscribers. He became a popular figure in mainstream media. However, this did not last long, as he was revealed to have been found guilty of sexually harassing a woman in 2017. Rhee claimed he was wrongly accused. That was basically the news. What do you think about it?
I understand people's concerns about foreign relations being hurt, but I also feel like that's kind of a useless worry at this point, because number one, okay, Russia has become the enemy of the entire world right now. So I don't know like what kind of foreign relations with Russia would be important at this point. And number two, Korea has already foregone with sanctions against Russia, and they've been aiding the Ukrainian military by sending out uniforms and other supplies. Before Rhee did anything already, we were cutting our ties with Russia essentially, and Russia actually listed us as one of their blacklisted countries. People are worrying a little bit too much about foreign relations when already the relationship has soured pretty much with Russia and Korea. On top of that, I really doubt that like this one guy, I don't think he as a single person has the power to really, you know, make the relationship any worse.
Okay, I have several questions for Danny. First of all, what is the thing that's going on in your background on the TV there?
Oh, it's just news.
Oh, why did you turn on some irrelevant news?
I wanted to feel like a newsroom.
Anyways, okay, going on to the second question. First, I'll state my brief opinion about it. I applaud his bravery. I think we should help and support Ukraine to the full extent. I also agree with the concerns that a lot of people are bringing up. Like, there might be possible diplomatic disputes in the future. Like, for example, he might get caught fugitive and there might be consequences for that. We have seen a lot of past cases. So the government's just being careful and banning people to go there. So I understand both sides. Moving aside from that, a lot of people have been pointing out on his obnoxious behavior of posting every single thing on Instagram or social media while he's like, okay, I am going to Ukraine right now.
He's posted about 4 times since he's announced that he's going to Ukraine.
Yeah, so people are like, initially the people were divided, like, oh, I really applaud his bravery, or like people are like, oh, why is he doing that when the government's restricting him to doing that? But now people are like, why is this guy posting every single thing when he's in a war zone?
Some people think that he went to Ukraine for his clout. But even if that's his motive, I think this is a very big act of bravery. And at the end of the day, he's helping out Ukraine. These people that sit on their couches, you know, eating potato chips and typing, oh, you're just doing this for clout. Well, let's see what you do. Let's see you step up and do something brave like him. I don't care if it's for clout, but at the end of the day, he's helping out the people, so why does it matter? It's an act of bravery.
I'm more of a tame citizen here, so if the government just says no, there's a lot of cases you can help Ukraine without going actually to the war zone. Like, a lot of celebrities are donating a lot of money and giving a lot of funds and help towards Ukraine. So
here's the thing, because people like him exist, we can expect the same help from, you know, people outside of Korea to help us when we're in situations of, you know, dire need. We need people like him. We need people like him. Yeah. We need more people like him.
And on to the next news. So some K-pop tea here. Big Bang's T.o.p comes back with a full interview and says no to the K-pop system. So Big Bang's T.o.p opened about leaving the group Big Bang and standing alone finally. Ahead of the upcoming Big Bang comeback, T.o.p conducted an interview with the magazine Prestige, Hong Kong's March cover. T.o.p, who had a hiatus for 5 years due to military service and drug controversy, he described the marijuana controversy as the worst moment he had. T.o.p said, I was going to make an extreme choice 5 years ago. It was only later that I realized how much damage I had done to the people around me. At that time, I seriously wanted to give up music, but it was music that allowed me to move forward during difficult times. I wrote over 100 songs in 5 years. I realized how precious it is to give back what I received, and I feel reborn. Not only did T.o.p discuss about his personal hardships, but also expanded onto the topics such as the K-pop system and its flaws. T.o.p, who has spent time researching mental health in the recent years, revealed his thoughts about the K-pop system. The trainees are placed in a harsh system. They can be popular by being trained to do things like robots, but they can't see the inner loneliness inside them. I want to set up a new record company, and I want to make real artists and help them. T.o.p also spoke about his future activities as Big Bang's T.o.p, and he said, from the beginning I was proud to be Big Bang's T.o.p. However, for the past few years I thought that there might not be a Big Bang T.o.p for a while. He continued, the upcoming Big Bang comeback song will include a message about why I am leaving and a message to my fans. I don't want to say that this is the end, but honestly it's going to take a long time to come back as Big Bang's T.o.p. Of course, the possibilities are always open. I love my band and I maintain a personal relationship with the members, and on and on. In the meantime, t.o.p announced the termination of his contract with YG Entertainment, and he said, "It's time to jump to the next level in my career and life."
Is he joining SM?
Was that a cue to next level? I don't know, but like obviously I think Danny's prediction about it being a hype and party song is pretty much proven to be wrong at this point.
What if it's a hype and party? I'm leaving now,
Okay,
bitches.
I'm leaving. Fuck you, bitches. Like that kind of stuff. Okay. What do you think about his message and his recent interview?
Number one, I think he revealed that this will just be one song that he'll be participating in. It looks like he'll have just one song with Big Bang and then he'll leave for a while, which I'm assuming is at least a few years, right? It just seems that he's kind of grown out of the whole K-pop thing. I think he's just tired of maybe the industry. K-pop training systems are killing the souls of these kids and they're trained like robots. So I'm guessing that he genuinely doesn't want to go back to that. He's just grown out of K-pop and I don't see him returning to Big Bang anytime soon, except for this one song.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. I don't think we'll see him after this comeback. But he did mention about his solo comeback. So he said he's going to be doing the music he likes. So I really look forward to that. But definitely not in the K-pop aspect. And also, it's very interesting in how he mentioned he's going to make a new label and nurture real artists. I mean, there was some shade there in the K-pop industry, as he said. And very looking forward to that as well, like what kind of artist he would produce. Who do you think like he would produce as a producer?
I think he wants to make maybe like a hip-hop label. I feel like he's having that like Kanye moment, not the recent Kanye, but like the Kanye moment where he wanted to like get out of the shade of Jay-Z maybe, and he just wanted to do his own thing and he just wanted to be recognized as an artist of his own.
Are you saying that t.o.p was in the shade of GD?
Maybe. No, I think so. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're good bros. I mean, he said multiple times that he's good relations with his band members, but at the same time, if he's in Big Bang, he'll always be, you know, in the shade of GD. We can't deny that.
Oh.
Is this a controversial statement? GD
just,
is the king of Big Bang.
I was like trying to just mess up there, but like mess around there, but you just
No, I kind of agree. I kind of, that's how I feel. I feel like
I don't know. I
Big
think
Bang is GD's group.
Well, I have a different opinion. Every Big Bang member had their own amount of influence and their spotlight. So more than a hip hop label, I think he's gonna make like a very indie hip, I don't know, like 88 Rising kind of vibe. Do stuff like Joji maybe, or like his past works with like very grotesque things happening in the music video. And one more extra question though. I was very surprised he did this exclusive interview with Hong Kong magazine or somewhere. Like, what do you think about the platform he chose to like come back with this ultimate interview?
Well, he did say a few years back that he's never gonna be returning as a celebrity in Korea again. Maybe he wants to move out of Korea and go into Hong Kong or, you know, somewhere outside of Korea.
That's what I thought too. Like, I think he was definitely living up to his words, and he was trying to grow out of Korea and start making a new platform, starting with a fresh, you know, magazine outside of Korea.
Right.
And he was saying it to the haters out there, like, I am strong even without you. Like, so he was putting out a message.
On to the next news.
Okay, so this is the biggest news, of course, in Korea. Yoon Seok Yeol becomes the next president of Korea. On March 9th, conservative candidate Yoon Seok Yeol came out as the winner of the 2022 Korean presidential elections in the closest race in Korean presidential election history. Yoon amassed 48.56% of the total votes, taking the win over liberal candidate Lee Jae-myung with just a 0.73% difference in votes. A very slim margin. Just on a side note, this year, yet again, TV stations showed the creativity in the weird ways of broadcasting the elections, including having a 3D model of these two candidates dancing to Next Level.
충남 세종으로 가봅니다. 윤석열 후보 48.2%, 이재명 후보 47.2%, 예측 접전.
This year's elections were filled with extreme tainting campaigns from both sides, claiming each other to be corrupt and even taking recordings of personal phone calls of the wives of the candidates in order to attack each other. It was a shit show. Yoon Seok Yeol, an ex-prosecutor turned politician, faced many doubts as a novice into the political world. At one point, he was trailing far behind his opponent in pre-election polls and even faced opposition and conflict within his own party. Many deemed him as incompetent, and his lack of knowledge in policies concerned the public. However, his lack of experience could not bend the will of the people to punish and change the current administration. Many political experts are crediting his win to the people's anger towards the current president Moon Jae-in and the Liberal Party that is in control right now. Among the factors of the anger, the most notable are the extreme rise in housing prices that have dwindled the hope for home ownership in the middle class, and the people's fatigue in the government's strict COVID regulations that ultimately failed to stop the huge outbreak of the virus we have now. With Danny. According to what the experts are saying, many of the people were not actually voting for Yoon to be president, but as a retaliatory measure against the current administration. Now Yoon faces a daunting task, healing the wounds of a divided country, as South Korea has right now. His policies include building 2.5 million homes to suppress housing prices, abolishing 80 regulations for more corporate freedom, including creating exceptions to the 52-hour work week limit, reinforcing the military alliance with the US, and more. He has also promised some controversial policies such as the abolishment of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, which has gathered steam among women's rights groups around Korea. And also applying a different minimum wage for different regions of Korea. And we'll go into more detail about his policies and what we can expect for the next 5 years on our Patreon after show. Time is here below. Yoon has already took action in sending a message of his policies by going on a phone call with American President Joe Biden just 5 hours after he was elected. Yoon's wife Kim Gun-hee has also put out a statement stating that she will not be taking in any political roles as First Lady and simply focus on being a good wife to the president. One of Yoon's policies were the abolishment of the department aiding the First Lady. Yoon will take office on May 10th, 2022. That's the long summary of the presidential election and Yoon's policies.
So are you happy?
I have mixed opinions. I'm not 100% satisfied. It's the better outcome in my opinion than the other side, but definitely not very satisfied.
I think of him as a very incompetent leader. And a lot of the stuff that he's been saying has been pretty much dividing the country. Like, for example, the abolishment of the gender equality, which has gathered a lot of like hype from the young males in Korea, but then also has gathered a lot of hate from the young females of Korea. So a lot of his policies are very dividing, but all in all, I think, like the experts say, people are very tired of the current government. One thing that happened yesterday that kind of reminded me of, oh, this is why he got elected. The spokesperson for the president came out yesterday talking about the elections, and then she started crying. She started crying because the liberals had lost the elections. And then I started like reminiscing about all the things that happened the past 5 years. First of all, reconciling with North Korea policies ultimately failed because North Korea blew up a building and they just cut ties with us. And now they're firing, missiles and testing, missiles. Number two, Korea's whole COVID policies. I would say it's a moderate success, but right now, because of the strict regulations, a lot of the small business owners have gone out of business. And furthermore, now like Korea has the most infections per day out of everywhere in the world, which is kind of insane. We're a pretty small country. Housing prices. Government made 25 amendments to their policies in order to get the housing prices right. But it's practically like if you want to get an apartment in Seoul, like the average house price for an average apartment in Seoul has practically doubled. And it's become impossible now. We're back to ground zero is where we're at, except for the housing prices where we're at worse.
I basically agree to what Danny said, but just to add a little bit, I am kind of angry and sad about the current strategy party used for win this election, and they didn't even win in a landslide. They won barely
Yeah.
using that policy, and that policy was basically dividing the nation, like tearing it apart. Parties are trying to divide by gender, and they're dividing by age, and it's getting very strategic, but I don't think that's necessarily very good, because like people are getting more and more conflicts between like these different classes and different categories, and it's just creating more dispute in society. So it's a very, I think, messy tactic in my opinion.
I mean, both sides use this tactic though. Let's get that clear. For example, on the left, they made a meme out of men who vote for the left versus men who vote right. And then they just basically demonized everybody who was voting for the current president. All the men, saying he's ugly, or you can't get girls or whatever, some bullshit like that. And honestly, the thing that's most disappointing is that shit actually works. People actually look at that. I personally think it's dumb as fuck, but I realize that it actually works. And that's the most scary part of it.
If you want to join a very heated debate on the presidential elections and the future of Korea, join our after show down below. Support us on Patreon so that we can continue making content despite Danny being infected with COVID and stuff. Before we end though, I'd like to announce a very big project upcoming on DKDKTV. It's going to be a very big project, aka a global international dating show with international cast, of course. Very hot and sexy and attractive and intelligent men and women. Thus, we are receiving applications from people who might want to participate in the casting and show. So further details about the program will be listed down below in this link in the description box. But if you happen to be in Korea, Seoul, or anywhere else, and would be interested in meeting an attractive Korean guy, maybe have some fun on YouTube, get some publicity, please check the link out below. So it's going to be a blockbuster budget for our standards. We're going to rent out a whole place, and we're going to feed more than 10 people. There's going to be a major production crew. I'm going to even set up a crowdfunding page soon. If that comes up, please support us. But in the meantime, if you just want to support us in general, Patreon is always very good for us, so please consider. And yeah, check that out, and check out nakedsoul.kr, and we will see you guys next time on DK News.
Bye-bye.
And Danny will be hopefully next to me, because this is very awkward.